Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live. It's Coach Steph. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to build a healthy eating regimen. So, if you have questions about how to build a healthy eating regimen, if you are all over the place or you feel like you are kind of a hot mess, this is the live for you. So, if you happen to be catching the replay, make sure that you type in replay and let me know that you're watching. I am going to set up this live and make sure that everyone in my Facebook group, everyone on my Facebook profile, on LinkedIn, on YouTube is able to hear me. And I'm going live and making sure that I'm live on all the platforms. So if you hop on, say hello, drop your questions about what struggles you're having with creating a healthy meal plan for yourself. Y'all, Chat GPT is free. And that's what I always tell people too. Like, today I'm going to be talking about structure and what you need to do even before you get to a meal plan. So if you think that a meal plan is your only um, issue, then you have a very simple problem that literally Chat GPT can fix. But if you know that your schedule is all over the place, your mindset's all over the place, your emotions sometimes cause you to um, eat things that are probably not in alignment with your goals, then number one, you want to join the Fit Figure Formula because this is what I help my clients do. I help female perfectionists to beat self sabotage and lose the weight for good. And this encompasses building structure with your schedule, learning how to manage your mindset, learning how to manage your emotions, learning how to manage your macros and what foods are going to be best for you that you pick. I teach my clients how to build their own plans so that they don't necessarily need something like Chat GPT or a meal plan. Chat GPT will get you started for sure, but there's always been free meal plans online. And if you still don't have your goal, that really wasn't the biggest issue. I think when you learn how to do it yourself, when you have a system that works for you and your family and your lifestyle and your preferences, then that's always going to be the best because you can always come back to that system and you know exactly what you're doing and you don't have to just eat the same meal plan because you don't know how to put one together for yourself. So this is going to have allow you to have more variety and there's no food that is off limits. Like I never tell my clients don't eat a certain thing. They're going to understand and know if they can fit this into their plan or not when I coach them inside the Fit Figure Formula. So that is 16 weeks of having a registered dietitian in your back pocket. And I'll tell you now that you have until Friday, which is November the 15th, to apply if you want to get in this month before January. I cannot express how you don't want to wait for January because that's the same mindset that's keeping you stuck in the yo-yo in the roller coaster waiting until January. um, that means that I get to help you through the holidays. I get to help you into 2025 and you can go into 2025 already feeling leaner, already feeling lighter, already feeling better mentally and emotionally. And you have until November the 15th to apply with the link in the show notes, with the link in the comments. And you can apply there, talk to me one on one, and I can help you decide if this is a good fit or not. This is a no pressure call where I get to know you a little bit more and I get to help you based on like what I see your biggest struggles are. So, again, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. And I think I'm going to dive in and open up my notes. All right. So, in this episode, I'm going to help you craft your personalized plan and eating schedule. So, this is going to help you to lose weight. It's going to help you to lower your A1C. It's going to help you have more energy throughout the day and to help you feel more confident about your nutrition. So, I have mentioned this a few times before because it's really important. Number one thing that you need to do before you start thinking about what foods to put on your plate is you need to start thinking about building a system. You do not want to just think about what do I want to eat for this meal or what do I want to eat for this day, because after that meal or that day is over, then you're starting from scratch every time. And when we make decisions again and again, day after day, especially when we've had a long week, you get to Thursday and Friday, you're probably not going to be making as good of decisions as you need to versus having an actual system that lends itself to being able to have a repeatable process where some of the decisions are already made for you because you have a system. Okay. So I want you to think about a system. I don't want you to think about just what do I put on my plate for this Tuesday night dinner. I want you to think bigger than that, meaning like zoom out. And what I'm going to be talking about today is building your system so that whenever you come to plan what you actually put on your plate, you're not starting from scratch every time. This is really important. We get decision fatigue. We don't want to plan. A lot of our brains have a lot of resistance to planning out things and sitting and thinking about what we're going to have and what time we're going to eat, all of that stuff. We have resistance and we start to distract. And that's where that consistency comes in because we're like, I don't really want to do that. And we end up not doing it. And then you end up grabbing whatever is convenient at the time. If this is making sense, let me know. Or if that is you, put that in the chat. So let me go back to my notes. All right. So first, you need to think about this as a system. So however you manage your life, whether that is on Google, Google Calendar, that's what I use. Or if you are a happy planner type of person, or if you manage your life on a piece of paper, that's fine. But make sure you have some sort of system. And I give my clients what I call a golf ball habit sheet. It's just basically a Monday through Sunday calendar. And we're writing down some very important things on our calendar so that we know from week to week, here's the day that I plan. Here's the day that I shop. Here's the day that I prep. So this is a weekly thing. I don't have to think about when am I going to go to the grocery store. I have already pre-decided that Fridays are my days and I go and I prep on Sundays, right? So um for me, what works for me is I like to plan and shop on Friday and then prep on a Sunday. That's my schedule. So when you have your calendar, you're going to be planning and writing down these three things, right? You need a shopping day, you need a prepping day, and you need a planning time. Okay. My recommendation is that you do not plan your meals, shop for your meals, and prep all on the same day because that is a long day and then you start to have resistance to doing that. I recommend splitting those up. So I recommend you to have your planning time. Usually that works well with the same day that you grocery shop. That's not too bad. And then on a different day, I would prep something. And my guideline is prepping all or something versus all or nothing. So if you cannot prep all your food for the week, don't prep nothing. Just do your snacks or just prep your dinners because dinner might be the meal where you typically will eat out and get DoorDash, right? So make sure that you have that on your calendar on repeat. So on my calendar, it is repeatable. I'm not putting that on my calendar every single week because I've already pre-decided like this is going to be the day each time. Now, your schedule may be a little bit different. I have coached physicians or people who do shift work, right? And you may not know what your schedule is. Here is what you need to do if that's you. So, you need to have a reset day where you can sit and look at your schedule for the next week and put those three things on your calendar based on your current schedule for the next week. That does not have to take a lot of time. It just takes some intention, looking at your calendar, and re rescheduling those three things. Okay. So the way that I help my clients and I take them through this process, I give them three options for pre-planning. And this is they pick the option based on their preference, based on their schedule. So option 1 is where they plan one time per week for the entire week. And when I say entire week, really I'm talking about 6 days. I always let them flex the seventh day. We're not robots. Like that seventh day, they usually eat intuitively. They probably have some leftovers or something. And usually, sometimes that seventh day is the planning day. So, option 1, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to plan what I'm going to have. And you don't have to eat the same thing every single day, y'all. I think when people think of meal prep, they think of I'm eating the same thing every single day, and that does not have to be true. So you can have some variety. The problem is a lot of times, the more variety you have, the more overwhelmed you tend to get. So my recommendation is no more than 3 meals to plan out. That makes it to where you have some variety, but you're not getting super overwhelmed by the prep process. So if you pre plan, either in my fitness pal or on a piece of paper. So I have my clients, obviously, we're tracking macros. So they are doing their macro plan and they're doing that in my fitness pal. But if you are not there yet and you just want to do it on a pencil on a piece of paper and pencil, you can do that as well, but just plan 3 days only. And then you can just have a leftover for each one of those days. That gets you to 6 days, and then you can flex the seventh day. That gives you some variety, but it means that you're not getting super overwhelmed having every meal or every day be a different meal. Okay. So that's option 1. Option 1 is for I'm planning one time per week, and I'm going to shop according to what I plan, and then I'm going to prep all or something. Okay. Option 2 is I'm going to pick 2 days to plan. So that means that maybe I am planning on a Saturday for the next 3 days, and then maybe on a Wednesday, for example, for the next 3 days. So I'm just planning on those 2 days so that I won't have to think about what I'm going to have a week from now. Because some of my clients feel like I don't know what I'm going to want to have a week from now. This way, you can just plan for the next 3 days. Now, in that 3 days, you can eat the same thing for those 3 days. Most of my clients do not do that. Or you can pick 2 days and just have a leftover once during that 3 days. Or you can pick 3 different days of meals and just eat one one of those options each day, and then your new planning day will come up and then you plan for the next 3 days. So this gives you a little bit more flexibility, but it does require you to pre plan twice during the week. Okay. So this is for my people who don't necessarily want to plan that far in advance, like option 1, where you're planning the whole week, but it will give you a little bit of it will give you a strategy, it'll give you a plan without being too overwhelming, without planning too far out, but it does require you to plan twice. That does not mean it has to take a long time, because once you start building your system, you have go-to meals that you rotate anyway. Whether or not you realize it or not, you have a certain number of recipes that you know how to cook, that you like, and you're eating a lot of the same things anyways. If you look at the span of like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Okay. So that is option 2. You're going to plan 2 times for the week for 3 days at a time. Option 3 is for my people who really don't like to pre-plan too far out, and it's you're just pre-planning the day before. So again, whether that's in my fitness pal or in on a piece of paper, you are taking a look at your next day and you're just saying, hey, this is what I want to eat for tomorrow. Okay. So this requires more commitment to pre planning, but it's quick because you're just doing it for the next day. But it helps you to stay on track. My clients are pre planning in my fitness pal. That way they are hitting their macros, right? They're hitting their actual numbers. This is the process that I'm going to teach you. Because sometimes when you guys are pre planning or planning out your meals for the week, you may be eating really healthy food, but you're not getting enough protein, or you still may be going over your calorie level, which is why it's really important to actually understand your nutrition, actually understand your macros. But as far as the planning process, those are the three options that I give my clients. So, option one is you're sitting down once during the week, planning the entire week, no more than 3 days, though. You're still not doing any more than 3 days. And then you flex the seventh day. Option two is you're planning twice during the week for 3 days at a time. Option three is you're planning the day before every day. Um, you're planning, your meals for the next day. So on your shopping day, right, you will get what you pre-planned. And then on your prep day, you will prep all of what you planned or something, whether it's your snacks, just your breakfasts, just your dinners and lunches, whatever works best for you. But again, we're building a system. So now you don't have to decide when you're going to be planning, when you're shopping, when you're prepping. You already pre decided that. Okay. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. All right. So let me go back to my notes. All right. So now what do I plan? Right? What do I plan? What do I plan on putting on my plate? So, whenever you go to sit down and plan on your planning day, you want to make sure that you have a protein focused meal. Okay. Protein is very important. And you want to make sure you're having anywhere between 4 to 6 ounces of protein. This could be chicken, beef, turkey, tuna. If you're a meat eater, right? Anywhere between 4 to 6 ounces is going to give you a good 25 to 30, sometimes 35 grams of protein. And that's around the range that you want to shoot for, around 30 grams of protein. So you don't have to get all 30 of those grams from your meat item, but you want to get at least like 25, 20 to 25. And then whatever you're having with it, that can help with some of the protein to get you over that 30-gram hump. So, some non protein or non meat items would be Greek yogurt, some beef jerky, lentils. You can use protein shakes, milk, things like that. So, you want to make sure that you have a protein option. So, inside the Fit Figure formula, I give my clients a formula and it always includes protein. Okay. So, you're going to have protein at every single meal and snack. So, when you're doing your planning, make sure you have a protein. Okay. And how do you know if something is a protein? So I have seen so many times on the internet where people are like, spinach is a great source of protein. And I'm like, no, actually, it's not. If you go and you put in spinach, a cup of spinach, 2 cups of spinach, it might give you 1 gram of protein. So it's one of the reasons why, too, I like tracking macros because it helps you understand your nutrition. Go put that in, and you'll see that it doesn't have like spinach doesn't have much protein, right? So make sure that you don't just assume if you're not 100% sure that you are picking items that have high protein. Okay. So then you want to have a fiber filled carb. So start checking your labels. So just because something is brown and it's not white, for example, doesn't mean that it's healthy. It doesn't mean that it has fiber either. So, my guideline for my clients 3 grams of fiber or more per serving for your carbohydrate item. So, your carbohydrate item obviously, obviously is going to be fruits and vegetables, but it's also going to be things like tortillas, bread, rice, quinoa, oatmeal, things like that. So you want to make sure that if you're picking a carbohydrate, that it has 3 grams of fiber or more. What this is going to do is also lend itself to less sugar. I am not a big proponent of like cutting out all sugar or focusing on things that you're taking out of your diet. I would rather add in more fiber. If you start to search for more high fiber foods, you're going to automatically reduce your sugar intake a lot of times because the things that do have 3 grams of sugar, I mean, 3 grams of fiber or more, are typically low in sugar. So if you're eating whole fruits or whole vegetables that automatically has fiber, you don't have to worry too much about making sure that it has 3 grams of fiber. But if you're eating whole fruits and whole vegetables, that's going to have fiber. And then if you're checking your labels on your other carbohydrate items, you're going to naturally decrease your sugar intake without feeling restricted, like I can't have sugar. So think about that when you're picking your fiber filled carb. And then you want to also manage your portion. So usually half a cup or less is good. So if you're talking about like mashed potatoes or any of your carb items, half a cup or less. Or if it's something like a tortilla or a piece of bread, look on the label and see how many pieces equal a serving. So, for example, bread usually is one slice is a serving. So you just want to keep that in mind. Okay. And then you want to be adding in healthy fats. So we have our protein, making sure that we have a protein item, we have a fiber filled carb, and we also have a healthy fat. Now, again, for the fat, if it has a label for something like oil, for example, it'll tell you right on the label what a serving size is. If it's something like an avocado, which I love avocado. If you are an avocado lover, put that in the chat. I know a lot of people who either you love avocado and can like eat a whole avocado without a problem, which is a lot of calories. It's healthy. And a lot of calories isn't a problem. Some of y'all are under eating. So eating a whole avocado for you is not bad. It's not bad and it's not good that it has a lot of calories. It's just, do I understand how to fit that in to my overall diet and what else am I eating for the day? So if we don't understand that, then we might think, oh, avocado is healthy. So I'm going to eat a lot of that and we'll overdo our calories and not be in a calorie deficit. Or we might say, oh, avocado, that has too much calories, too many calories. So I'm not going to eat that at all, which isn't good either, right? We want to understand what a serving size is. It's usually like 50 grams, I think, for avocado. And you just want to understand how that fits into your overall goal. But besides just calories, like looking at the calories, you want to make sure that you have that healthy fat because a lot of that is brain protective, heart protective, and just looking at your overall health, not just your calorie count. We want to make sure that we're having a balanced meal, which includes healthy fat. Okay. So, your calorie level is going to determine how many servings of each of these things that you will need and what portions are right for you. This is why it's not as effective if you just use someone else's meal plan. Oh, she lost weight on this particular meal plan. I'm just going to do what she did because all of our calorie levels is going to be a little bit different. So that means that the portion sizes that we can have are going to be a little bit different. So if you think about someone who is right 300 pounds and they may be sedentary, they may need different calories and different portions than someone who is maybe 200 pounds and uh still walks 7,500 steps to 10,000 steps a day, right? So you just want to be thinking about the fact that yes, you can be eating healthy. You can have a healthy diet, quote unquote, that has protein, fiber filled carbs, and healthy fat. But if you don't know what portions to eat, you can still be under eating or overeating. So, this is what I teach my clients in the formula because when you see the numbers, I love just seeing the numbers because it really fits together like a puzzle and you can see, oh, okay, I can have a whole half of an avocado because I need some more calories and that will get me there. Or, ooh, I'm over calories when I see that number when I'm pre-planning and I need to to take away some calories, which fat is the easiest thing to kind of start reducing since it has the most calories per volume. And okay, instead of half of an avocado, maybe I'll have a fourth of an avocado instead, and that'll bring my calorie level down. So I could make a meal plan for the 300-pound person and the 200-pound person, and they could be the exact same foods, but different portion sizes, and it would still work for both, right? Same foods, but different portions. So that's why you have to actually understand your food and not just say, oh, I'm eating healthy or I'm eating more mindfully. I didn't eat any sweets, etc., because that doesn't mean you didn't go over your calories. Okay. So, y'all drop any questions. I'm going to take a little pause here. Drop any questions that you have in in the chat, and I will definitely hey, thank you. I will definitely answer those if I see any come through, or if you, even if you're watching the replay, put in your questions. Is this making sense, y'all? I hope that it is. Um, okay, so you have your option one, option two, option three. You have your planning day, your shopping day, your prep day. You understand that you need a protein, a fiber filled carb, and a healthy fat. So, understanding your calorie level is very important, and that will determine what portions that you are going to have, right? So a lot of times what I see is very carb heavy meals, and we're probably doing this unintentionally, but I noticed that we're having carb heavy meals because I start my clients off by tracking what they're already eating. And this nobody does. So if you want a pro tip, here it is. Before you try to go and diet and be in a calorie deficit, I don't want you to change a thing. I want you to track what you're already eating to see how many calories you're already eating. And this is what I do inside the formula. And normally, what I see is their meals are carb heavy and they don't have fiber filled carbs. So they may have carbs, but those carbs are more refined and they're not hitting their fiber number, and they have too little protein. That is what I see pretty much across the board. And you want to tweak that. So usually what happens is once my clients kind of get understand what they're already eating, I will give them the numbers, and then normally what that looks like is more protein than they're used to getting, and focusing more on getting fiber filled carbs versus just any carbs that are refined that don't have as much protein. So this is going to lend itself to single ingredient whole foods and limit processed foods. So when you think about your plate in terms of a protein, a carb, a fat, it's going to automatically lend itself to single ingredient whole foods that you can grow in the ground versus something that you open a package and eat. This is very important because it will help you with number one, calorie burn. So there's something called thermic effect of food. So if I eat a whole apple, just by eating that apple and my body having to break that down, I automatically am going to burn a little bit more calories than if I was eating something like applesauce that's already been kind of processed and broken down. So that's like a simple example of how eating single ingredient whole foods can help you burn a little bit more calories. Thermic effect of food, if you want to look that up. And so your body has to work a little bit harder. So think about if you're eating out at Domino's, and I say Domino's because we just had Domino's not too long ago. And I remember talking to my daughter, and I was like, the Domino's pizza was really good, and but I could have eaten a whole pizza by myself. It wasn't filling though, you know. And I just know that we think it looks just like, uh pepperoni, meat, whatever, but there's a lot of extra ingredients in those foods, and it makes it highly, when you put it in your mouth, it breaks down and your body is actually not having to do a lot of work versus if you were to make a pizza at home, it's going to be more filling. You wouldn't be able to eat as much because it's filling, right? So when you are eating processed foods, they break down much quicker in your body and you don't get as full, which is probably why you eat more of it. And it's hypercaloric, which means it has more calories per volume, and you're just overeating. Even if you eat a regular portion, when you go out to a restaurant, it has more calories even in a small portion. So, eating at home, your best bet, if you follow the protein, fiber, filled carb, healthy fat that I just mentioned, it's going to lend itself to eating more single ingredient whole foods. That's also going to help you increase your energy and productivity. You're just going to feel better. I don't know if y'all have ever been on a diet or just been eating healthy, eating clean, and then you go to Whataburger or you go to McDonald's or you go to a fast food place. And I have pretty much stopped eating fast food. Um, Rarely ever do I eat fast food. Now I will eat at a restaurant. But even that, I'm thinking of Chewy. So I'm a chimichanga girl. I've mentioned this on the podcast before. But I love chewy chimichangas. But I used to be able to eat a whole one. I have to cut it in half now. And it doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel slow and sluggish. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I have rocks in my stomach, especially if I eat like fast food. Ugh, I don't like the way I feel. But when you're eating single ingredient whole foods, you're increasing your energy, your productivity, your brain, your body just feels so much better. It's going to also increase your mood as well because you're getting nutrient dense foods that has vitamin C, vitamin D, potassium, all the micronutrients that we don't talk about. And that is just going to help you in your entire process with your mood, your weight loss, your diabetes, all the things. Okay? So, another tip, not having more than one new recipe per week. So, one of the things that I recommend for my clients, especially those who come in with the mindset is I need so much variety, is no more than one new recipe per week. Pinterest is my go-to for finding new recipes, but I don't want y'all to overwhelm yourself. I've gone over a lot of things, but if you actually put pen to paper and you live this out day to day, it's actually not a lot because number one, you're only doing it one time, right? Because we're pre-deciding and we're building a system for ourselves so that we don't have to redecide this every week. You're actually doing more work when you're doing that. But when when we think, oh my God, I need to have something different every day because I don't like to get bored. A lot of times when we say that, it's a self sabotaging statement because then we get overwhelmed. It's like we got to find a balance between bored and overwhelmed. So, no more than one new recipe per week. And then once you roll in a new recipe, each week. So week one new recipe. Week two, one new recipe. Week three, one new recipe. The recipe that you had for week one now is no longer new week three. So you can continue to roll in new items. But this is going to help you prevent burnout, right? So boredom or burnout. I just made that up, y'all. I think I'm going to use that. So there is a middle ground. Okay. So make sure that you are picking no more than one new recipe per week and that you keep a list of your go-to meals and snacks to choose from weekly and start to build up your repertoire of things that you know how to make, that you like, that hit your goals. And this is something that I've started doing for myself because I'm not the greatest cook, but I have gotten a lot better over the years because I guess I don't know if people think that dietitians are automatically great cooks, and that's not true. Um, but I'm like, okay, I need to remember the things that I really like and write them down. So I literally have a list in my notes of things that I want to try and I want to get good at making, and then some things that, like, here's some go-to things that I actually really like so that I don't forget. Cuz I'll forget that, like, I really like the in the morning. I was tearing this up last week. The bagel and either cream cheese or avocado with the smoked salmon in the morning. I've been tearing that up. And I forgot that I like that so much. That's super simple and easy, right? I tried some wilted spinach, like actually making it myself for the first time. When I tell you so easy, and it was so good. Like I was so satisfied and so like even my kids liked it, or I should say my daughter. My son was not having it. But it was so good. And I don't want to forget those things that are so super simple to make, but you'll forget that, like, oh yeah, I did like that. So make sure that you're keeping a list of your go-to meals and snacks that you can choose from weekly to build up your repertoire of recipes, and then add in one new recipe per week that you can try to see if you like, and roll that in each week so that you are not bored and you're not burning out either. So understand also that I mentioned earlier about picking option 1 or option 2 or option 3. Understand that this has to be flexible. You might need to change your option some weeks depending on your schedule. So if you have originally picked option 1 when you're only planning one time a week for the entire week, there might be a week where you're going to be super busy or just your normal schedule is way off, and you might need to go to an option 3 where you are actually picking what you're going to have the day before every day. So understanding that part is really important because, again, sometimes we're so all or nothing that we'll just stop our entire system because it's not going to go exactly how we normally would keep it. So make sure that you are flexible with yourself. And this is also a really important reason why you have a reset day on your calendar as well. This is what my clients do on the weekends. They check in with themselves and ask what went well, what did not go well, and how can I troubleshoot. During that time, you want to look at your schedule for the upcoming week and ask yourself, okay, do I have time to do my regular schedule with my walks, my workouts, my meals? Does anything need to change so that you can be proactive instead of just reacting in the moment and then probably getting DoorDash because that's more convenient? Okay. So you want to repeat this process. Okay. You want to repeat this process of your option 1 or option 2, option 3, of having your check in day, of asking yourself what went well, what did not go well, and how you want to troubleshoot for the next week. This is building a system for yourself, especially if you're keeping those go to meals. I teach my clients to pre plan. We're pre planning in my fitness pal. And once you start saving meals the way that I teach my clients to save meals, so when they pre plan and they have a day that hits their goals, they will save those days. So then I don't have to start from scratch the next week. I can go back into my meals and I can just copy the meals that worked for me the last time into my plan. And if I need to tweak anything because I want to make some changes for this week, I can. But that is the way that you can pre plan your meals in minutes. Literally, minutes you can pre plan. And that is what we're getting to. So, the work that you do up front in understanding your nutrition, of building your calendar and your system, is going to help you make this so much easier. So sometimes we got to go slower to go fast instead of just trying to hurry up and get to the meal plan or hurry up and get to the goal. Just give me the easiest thing to do, because long term that won't work, because you'll get bored. You don't actually have a system. You're kind of thinking of it on the fly, and that's not going to help you get consistent. Building a system will. And this is what I teach you inside the Fit Figure formula. So if you have listened to this and you've put this on your calendar, I highly, highly recommend practicing this. Or you can join the Fit Figure formula and let me walk you through the process. If you guys have any questions, I would love to answer them, because um, I want to make sure that I answer your questions. I'm looking at this to see if I can actually see comments though. Um yeah, I see there was a comment, but yeah. Um drop them in the chat and then I can always come back and answer them. But did this make sense, y'all? Let me know in the chat. Did this make sense? Because I promise you, is going to make your life so much easier. And so, my goal for my clients is that they create a system that works for themselves. And this is not a system that's just going to work during the 16 weeks that we coach. This is going to work for you for the rest of your life. I hate it when my clients come to me and they say, I joined this program or a program out there and I did good in the program. I lost a lot of weight, but I had no idea what to do after the program ended. It's like, what? Are you building a lifestyle or are you just going on a diet? Because we can do that. Like, you can lose weight quick. You can be restrictive. You can, just eat watermelon or whatever. But do you want to build a lifestyle or do you want to build a diet? Right? So just understand that you are going to understand your own nutrition, your own system, your own lifestyle, your own mindset, manage your own emotions so that you can do this long term. So this is not just about 16 weeks. So drop in your questions. You guys have until November the 15th to enroll. Go ahead and apply. It is the link in the comments where you can book a call with me for this week. We can talk about whether or not it's a good fit. It's a no pressure call. You can decide whether or not you want to join or not. And then we get started with orientation for November for next week. But I want you to get in before Friday, just to make the onboarding process a little simpler. So, if you have any questions about the Fit Figure formula, I can send you an 8-minute video that will go over what to expect so that you kind of have some clarity around that. And then you can look at that and make a decision if you want to apply or not. So, thank you guys for watching. Drop your questions in and